fuck piece of fucking stupid fucking car.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You're a stupid fucking badger thing. Call him Pindo, you stupid shit. Bring back to it, you
Persona ne resta vierge interlement.
Oh,
he's
speaking Italian. What have you just said?
French.
What have you...
No, it's French because I'm...
I thought it was Italian. Welcome back, idiots and gentle idiots. Welcome back to Idiots of F1, the show where, well, ideally 4, but today 3 people who love Formula One far more than they understand it have somehow made that everyone else's problem for 4 seasons running. I'm Ollie, and joining me this evening for what is, I want to say, an extremely symbolic occasion, 2 of my favorite people on earth. Ev, just say quick hello, Ev, because you're not the one that I'm excited to say hello to. So just quickly.
Quick hello, Ev.
Yep. Yeah, there you go. Quick hello, Ev. And with a huge welcome back, Digby. Everybody screaming.
Hello.
Digby, hello.
Hello. I saw you recently, didn't I?
You did. I was the idiot paying to go see another idiot on stage. Very lucky to see you. Had a wonderful time.
That was really fun. That was a really fun show.
It was a brilliant show, and not that we do plugs here because we don't have sponsors that pay us, but I'm going to give a shout out. Furnace and the Fundamentals, the greatest live show I have been to in my adulthood. I had a brilliant night, wonderful time. I've seen some shows, and if you are interested in wherever in the world you are, look them up. You have got to go check them out if they're in town. But where is
our current major fan base?
US. The US
that's
is
a shame.
where
we
we
never
are
played
getting...
in the US. So if you are in the US, you could pay us lots of money to come and fly over and play a show for you.
Elliot's on the kind of list that doesn't allow him to land in US territories.
Well, welcome back, Digby. 4 episodes gone, 4 whole weeks of Tay and Ev and I sitting here reviewing Formula One races, settling prediction scorecards, asking quiz questions that nobody could fucking answer, and the one person who would have had the most to say about all of it was nowhere to be found. In a theatre somewhere with a microphone that wasn't this one. But we are delighted to have you back in the chair, Digby, or as you became known by accident, Dugby. Genuinely.
Oh, Dugby. I've been called, so far on this tour, I've been called Dimitri and David and Digley and now Dugby.
Digley.
So that's it.
I like Digley.
Dimitri was my favorite.
Piece of shit over there.
Yeah. Hey, look, before we get any further, I want to draw your attention to something you may have all just picked up in my hellos. Tay is not here tonight. So look, there's the sad faces on both the boys. If you're watching, obviously you can see that they barely reacted. We had a full house confirmed. We had all 4 confirmed. We had the band back together, no pun intended. Tay, obviously a part of that. And then
really McLaren
had to call in a last-minute McLaren not available. Digby, as I said, has been away for 4 episodes. Tay has been here for all of them. But Digby comes back tonight and Tay leaves. Are you guys the same person? Like, Ev, I get that one of them is my brother, but have you ever actually seen them in the same room at the same time?
I've never seen them in the same room.
I've seen us in the same room at the same time, but I don't think you two have seen us in the same room at the same time.
You would say that.
Yeah,
you have to say that.
Digby walks in holding a mirror.
Do we have the same score
in
in the quiz?
Yeah,
do we have the same score in the quiz?
You're both equal in the quiz.
What have you guys been doing in this quiz, mate?
Well, Ev has actually been racking up the points. But poor old Tay, he's taken a while. But look, we'll get to that in a second. But
I listened to the last week, and it was just like it was by default, basically.
Pretty much, it was like a participation trophy. Anyways, here we are, 3 idiots, Japan Suzuka Grand Prix to review, a sport that is by almost every measure losing its mind right now. Here's the shape of today's episode. We've got a full rear-view review of Japan's race, and there's a lot to get through. You got Kimi Antonelli winning from P6, Oscar Piastri finally completing a race, George Russell on the radio absolutely losing his mind. You got Hamilton reporting mysterious power loss in a Ferrari, and Verstappen spending the race staring at Pierre Gasly's ass and then threatening to retire from F1 entirely. And underpinning all of it, the 50-ton elephant in the room, Bearman's 50G crash, and what it means for a set of regulations that Suzuka was supposed to vindicate. Spoiler alert, it did not. And after that, we've got Hush, you been paying attention. Ev versus Digby, the OG somewhat.
Champion versus
Lastly,
champion.
we'll close out with what's Verstappenin. 5 stories from the last week or so that I genuinely need to tell you about. But before any of that, the icebreakers. Not a test of knowledge, not a measure of character. Oh, well, actually, it's absolutely a test of character. But again, for those new here, this is where I pose somewhat redundant questions towards my co-hosts here to warm you up a bit. To warm them up, I guess, to some extent, and at the very least, to feel like you're getting to know them more and more every week. So, Digby, you are up first. I've saved you something worthy of your return. Give us the drum roll. Digby, you have just watched Oli Bearman crash into Spoon Curve. Suzuka, 308 kilometers per hour, 50 G of impact. The car leaves the track, crosses the grass, goes sideways to the distance, and hits the barrier hard. Bearman said afterwards, and I quote, "It was really scary moment," which I think qualifies as the understatement of the year. So here's the question for you, mate. If that was you, and if we lived in a world where what a person is thinking is broadcast out loud in the moment, their internal monologue unfiltered live, what are people hearing from inside your helmet as all of that unfolds?
Is it what I'm saying or what I think Oli Bearman was saying?
You can give us both.
Okay, well, let's start with Oli Bearman. This is Oli Bearman, right? Oh, this is delightful. Oh, bother. Oh, bother. Bother. Oh, bother. Oh, my car's in the wall. That's Oli Bearman.
Can I say on Bearman, and because you kind of did like the English accent there, and I can't offend people here because I'm half a Brit, all of my family's British, but has he got the weirdest British accent like in the world? Like,
it's just very,
it's a very odd accent.
It's very effeminate. I would be, what would I be? I've been through little moments like this before. I'd be like, oh, and I just
on the road,
everything slows down. You're like, and then you hit the wall, and you guys, you piece of fucking stupid fucking car.
What are you doing?
There's a stupid fucking battery thing. Call a Pinto, you stupid shit. Bring back doing you. That would be me. I'd be just livid because I would be blaming everyone but myself.
Of course. And I think there's reason not to blame yourself in that moment, and we'll get to it later. But tell me, Diggs, would your life flash before your eyes? Like, I know those cars are super safe, right? And we've seen some crazy accidents.
Honestly, it's hard. Everyone always says their life flashed before my eyes. I've definitely had moments in my life where I've thought that something bad was going to happen, and all I could think of was focusing on the point where I was about to hit the thing, and everything just stops, and you're just like, oh my God, this is happening. Then the reaction to it is more like, oh my God, I couldn't have done this.
But no vivid intervention, no blinding light, no one talking to you from up
just
above
pure
saying,
anger.
now is not
from
the
below.
time.
He's a redhead.
This is how I'm going to die. This is how I'm going to die.
Right.
Stupid
Okay,
F1.
Ev, Kimi Antonelli, he's 19 years old. He wins the Japanese Grand Prix, his second consecutive victory. He's now the youngest championship leader in the history of F1. Whoa. And then he stands on the podium, and he is handed a bottle with no label on it because Japan's legal drinking age is 20, and Kimi Antonelli is 19. So the winner of the Japanese Grand Prix cannot drink his own champagne. He's standing on the top step with sparkling water, while the likes of Leclerc and Piastri, who finished behind him in the race, both have full magnums of Moët. You are Leclerc. You are standing right there. You finished
Aren't
third.
I charming?
You have the
Doesn't
champagne.
everybody like me?
What are you doing and what are you saying to him? And remember that, albeit this isn't a PG-rated show, it is most definitely something I will cut out if it's completely inappropriate and you will be left not answering anything. So give me an answer. A good one.
Hold on.
He's using ChatGPT to answer the question.
I need to
Give me an answer
translate it
that's
to
not
like
offensive.
Monegasque.
But
So let me pull out the 30 options I wrote before.
Here we go. I would spraying me in Oscar, and I'd just give
just
him
to be clear,
I'd
that
give him
champagne in your hand, right?
you do me, now I do you. And I would just say, persona ne resta vierge interlement.
Horrible, horrible pronunciation.
What have you just said?
French.
What have you?
No, it's French because I'm
I thought it was Italian. Oh, because you're Monegasque.
Can you say it one more time for the people at home?
Persona ne resta vierge eternellement. Which means no one's a virgin forever.
Oh, God.
Right. I don't know if we can keep this.
Let's get into it. It's time for the rear view review. Japan edition Suzuka. So round 3 of the 2026 F1 season. And honestly, if you only watched the race and switched off before the post-race press conference, I think you missed the more interesting half of the weekend, because the actual race, and we will get into the results shortly, was fine. And I say fine, like when you ask like your partner, are they okay? And they go, I'm fine. You're like,
That's
yeah, so it's
exactly
not
how I am.
good. It's
It
not
was lukewarm
good.
sushi.
It's there's some good bits.
Good bits. Good bits.
Maybe you two will disagree in a minute, but for me, the story of this race isn't really about who won. It's about what happened on lap 22 and what it might mean for a set of regulations and enforced changes that a lot of very important people have been defending very loudly for the last month. So before we run the results, let's start here. So if you will, cast your mind back to last episode. We asked whether Suzuka would vindicate the 2026 regulations or expose them. The circuit was held up as the test case, proper driver's track, high speed, technical, less of the stop-start nature that people said was masking problems in Melbourne and to some extent China. So spoiler, I don't think it vindicated them. Here's the thing, and I want your honest take on this before I give you the specifics. Alonso said something in the press conference before the race that stuck with me. He said, the driving challenge of Suzuka is gone. All the stuff that makes this track legendary are now just battery charging stations. You don't attack them, you manage them. Diggs, you've had 4 episodes off to form an opinion from your sofa. Where are you on the 2026 regulations right now?
I fucking hate them. And I know we've had small discussions about this, and I haven't really
Tell
gone
us how
into
you
He's
feel.
wearing his
guy.
McLaren hat.
Okay, so it has nothing to do with the performance of teams. So the FIA or whoever have come up with the new regulations, and they're really proud of these new regulations. This is going to solve all our TV problems. Everyone's going to watch the most entertaining season ever.
Yeah.
This is the future. And we have a little more control over how the race is going to look. And then they do it. Doesn't turn out quite as well as they hoped in their mind, but in everyone else's mind who's driving cars, like, this is the worst idea ever. We're all standing around and they're so sure their idea is great. Let's give it another week. Just you'll see. And that's what's happening. It's like these people are going, this is not good. What did Alonso say in like the first week? His chef could drive this car. Like, you don't have to be a good driver to get around the track. And one of the great things about F1 is they are incredibly hard to drive. And that's what makes it so special. So now, I do agree that there's been some really exciting moments. And I think in short term, that's really fantastic. And I've really enjoyed the challenges. I just think it's going to turn out to be like the Big Bash. And suddenly a 6 in a test match is a real special thing. 6 in a Big Bash is you hope for at least 1 or 2 and over.
This
and
sounds
you
like
lose the spark. Look, long term.
The first time we
That's what I
hooked
think.
up, I was drunk. Then the next, I was tired. The next night, look, I just need a few go. We need to get.
So yeah, I just think
it's only getting worse. It's only getting worse.
They're holding on. They're really trying to convince everyone it's the right thing. I actually ultimately believe they don't care what the drivers think, and they're just going to keep doing it until it quietens them down as much as possible that they can continue forward. Then they'll introduce more women into the race because if it's easy for them to drive success, you can now have. I'm not kidding. Like, why? If they can do that, if it's easier for people to drive, they don't have to make it just a male-dominated sport. And I think media-wise and TV-wise,
that's a fascinating point.
A great goal.
You bring a really good point, is the fact that it's never dawned on me that part of these regulations and pushing in this direction, and again, we might be well off the mark here in terms of actually understanding the direction these regs are going.
Really.
But it's fascinating to think that actually does this new direction end up making the cars easier to drive and therefore open up the accessibility of these cars to drive? And that's really interesting point. My query is maybe it's not physically as hard to drive these cars, and again, none of us are equipped to answer that.
So it's more of the.
But I think mentally, it's a much tougher race than it's ever been, right? Like, because these guys have to know, like, just the fucking around with the buttons on the steering wheel.
I think it's just a new mental challenge that they haven't practiced. So you've learned to race for 30 years, and then, by the way, you have to do it this way now. You have to relearn.
Although again,
everything
it wasn't. They still had to know when to use DRS, but at the end of the day, I think we also all forget that they've got people in their radios telling them to do what to do. But the big difference, so this is my big issue. I didn't really get to my main gripe about this. We talk about it, like you've said, you often say, well, DRS is the same thing. It is the same thing, except that you have very specific areas. You don't have to charge for DRS, for starters. You just have DRS. Yeah.
And the other thing is the differential between your top speed with it on and top speed with it off is not as dramatic and not as unpredictable as how they have this.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's a much
We'll
better
get to that
controlled
about
environment. But
Bearman.
then it's not without, and that wasn't without its faults because you just got DRS trains all the time. It's like, oh, I'm about to overtake.
Yeah.
Oh no, you got DRS, and now I'm stuck. So I think
So you're not a fan.
Yeah.
You're not a fan.
I have been a fan to watch these races in the short term, but I'm looking long term, and I'm seeing that I'm going to find these overtakes to get real boring and pointless.
Can I make? I'm going to throw this one to Ev as well. I want to make a comment here that I don't think F1 fans can ever be satisfied. Right. So Diggs, I understand your point about, oh, you overtake me, and then I'll just bite my time, and in 2 laps I'll have enough energy, even in 1 lap, and I'll go you, and then I'll be back in front. But the irony is, we all used to fucking whinge when a car would get overtaken, and then that car would just disappear because cars couldn't chase them and couldn't actually regather. So
I didn't really understand that back then when we were first watching. I didn't get how it could take so long for someone to get the overtake and then just disappear. I didn't really understand that. And once I kind of learned that, I was like, okay, well, now I get it. Now I can at least accept that. Especially, you're always going to have these discrepancies. But it's like, surely you'd rather discrepancy caused by the greatness of a constructor than the control of the overall party providing you.
Interesting. All right, well, we're going to cover off that and a lot more as we get on. But just very quickly, Ev, we all spoke about China after that race. We were quite ecstatic. We thought the racing was pretty good. Appreciate that obviously that race ended up being won a bit by Mercedes, but at least the wheel-to-wheel racing for 20 odd of those laps was great. But I mean, you gave me, I think it was a really unenergetic 7 or 8 out of 10 for China. What ranking did you give Japan?
Well, if I could circle back, I think
You may.
fans, I think it would be very easy to please fans. Number 1, cigarette sponsorship. Bring it back. I'm joking.
Of course.
V8.
No shit.
Hey, what's the difference between that and McDonald's?
With, hey, that's not for me to judge.
Come on, keep going.
V8s, none of this active aero bullshit. All overtake button, straight up V8s,
Raw
high
power.
revving, just power. And you live and die by the aerodynamics of the design of your car and its handling. That's all.
But with a cost
all
cap.
of this bullshit. Yeah. Well, somehow.
Yeah. There's an element of sunk cost fallacy, an element of, no, we're right, you're wrong. I think broadly speaking, there is a challenge in terms of what fans want, Ev, because fans are different. You've got your class of fans, and you're sitting there saying, fucking raw engine power. It's all about the design of the car. And then you got fans that don't really give a shit about any of that. But if they're going to tune in for 20 minutes, they want to see action, not cars just randomly driving around by them.
My version of F1.
The problem is with that, you don't get to keep those ones who come in for 20 minutes. So if you're only here to impress them, if you lose the V8s, people like the Evs,
but if
then
there's
you've lost
enough
your
of them,
product.
Diggs, if there's enough of them,
but you can't bank on that.
Well, F1 is at the peak of its popularity. However, there is a feeling that lap 22 on the weekend might have changed the conversation. So just to recap, we've obviously touched on it in our icebreaker, but Oli Bearman drives for Haas. He's flying through the track. He's going 308 kilometers per hour.
Good on him.
Franco Colapinto, who drives for Alpine, which is
our favorite.
He's directly ahead of him, but he's obviously not going at 308 kilometers per hour. However, Colapinto is in what is called a harvesting phase. So a term that none of us would have heard so much as we have done in the last couple of weeks. So his battery's depleted. His car is hence slowing down. Whereas Bearman, who is in the opposite and what we call a deployment phase, is closing. And Oli, to avoid what effectively may have been one of the worst accidents we've ever seen on any track race, had Oli not have got out of the way. What he's done is he's shifted his car to avoid him. He hits the grass, he loses the car, goes sideways across the track, through the distance boards, and he goes into the barrier. Bang, at 50G, right? 50G. Like, that's fucking hectic, right? So you could tell straight away, I'm sure you all watched it, you're like, holy shit. Like, you saw the onboard as soon as he moved. You're like, oh my God. Now, miraculously, he walked away with just a bruised knee. This stupid word contusion was thrown around all weekend about it, which when you say it out loud feels like an absolute miracle, right? Now, in the cool down afterwards, Piastri, who finished second, and again, we'll talk about him shortly, he's watching the replay on the screen. And as the crash plays, he turns to Leclerc and he says, I finally see what you mean about the mushroom. Now, the mushroom, ladies and gentlemen, is a Mario Kart reference, the boost button. The same thing that Verstappen has been mocking for not just a few races, but years. And here at the exact weekend that the Super Mario Galaxy movie cast was in the paddock, the mushroom boost literally almost killed someone. Gents, is this the moment that finally forces the FIA and the F1 to say, hey, actually, we need to do something about this?
There was a point that I've got 2 points to make, and I'm really interested. I've been waiting to hear what Digby has to say. The first one is, during the race, at no point analyzed it during the race, and they just kept cutting back to it, and it just kept looking like Oli Bearman stupidly tried to overtake on the inside.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, why you keep playing it? He's such an idiot. What are you doing? And so it wasn't until afterwards, for whatever. So I don't know if it was on any other feed where they actually recognized that it was this horrible, or if, and I didn't read the notes for the episode, if we'll get to it, but if it was perhaps because the Formula One they dictate what the feeds get.
Yeah.
So whether or not the Formula One, who have again found themselves in hot water for editing live footage, whether or not they thought someone was smart enough to be like, well, don't let them see it from a different angle.
Yeah.
The other point I want to make,
something out of
made me
Running
think
Man.
of Digby, is imagine if that wasn't Oli Bearman, if that wasn't someone with their whole career ahead of them, if that was Alonso or Verstappen, they would be, because Oli Bearman had to get permission not to do the media afterwards, because you're obligated to do the media.
Yes. Yeah.
So whatever reason, he was as if they were like, okay,
let's look after
I
him.
guess you don't have to,
him.
as opposed to don't let him do media.
Shut the fuck up.
If that
do
was
not do
Alonso or Verstappen, they'd be coming out like, the FIA. What the fuck are you trying to kill me for?
If that was Max, he would be furious, because they can't really silence Max. Because if they did, people would know that they are, and they'd be uproar.
Yeah, exactly.
It's odd because I hate when media does this, because it's like we're not stupid. Like, just because you didn't show us doesn't mean we don't know. And I always think it causes more damage when you do that, because if you explain what actually happened and get ahead of the news, you get to dictate the conversation. But they don't. They hope that we won't figure it out. Then everyone else just says whatever they feel. In the world of the internet, people are just going to say what they want. And I feel that, yes, maybe this is going to cause some changes, but I bet it's not the changes we want. They'll find some shit thing to change to fix that problem so it doesn't happen again.
A little bit less harvesting next time.
Or we'll just have very specific zones which are safer, like only on the straights, and we're back to DR. I don't know. It won't be what we want.
Just give us a speed limit,
right? Like, I think the FIA and F1 are in between a rock and a hard place at the moment. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but of course. However, Mercedes obviously massive advocate for these new reg changes, right? Mm-hmm. Ever since the hybrid time, obviously, when the idea of electrical engines were brought in to combine with combustion, Mercedes was a dominant player. They've also been one of the most dominant forces in wanting and pushing for these agenda and these.
Is this about the Formula E thing?
Not yet. No, we will get to that. So hold on that one. The other point is that Audi's entry into F1 was very much apparently built off a big reality that they needed to see this sort of innovation, because brands like Audi and Mercedes are in F1 because of the impact to their public manufacturing, their car brands on the road. So they want to be able to take the technology that is, I guess, utilized in F1 and apply it to their road cars. And we spoke about this a couple of episodes back, but not in this, I guess, framing. We spoke about it, how amazing F1 has been, for the innovation of road cars through pedals and, like steering flaps and fucking even seat belts. But there is a big agenda item from the biggest brands involved in F1 now, such as, I don't know if McLaren are, I doubt it. I think maybe you said, or Aston Martin have all but eradicated their intentions to move into electric cars. But Mercedes and Audi have not. They obviously see that as a huge market, particularly in Europe. So, I mean, they're that's what I mean. Like it's kind of a rock and a hard place. They've made promises to these massive, massive manufacturers, and how can they pull out? Like, to your point, Diggs, maybe all they can fucking do is say, okay, so you can only harvest and deploy energy here and here. And maybe it's not a 50-50 split anymore. Maybe like they introduced changes for qualifying, right? Where they said, actually, you can have a little bit more energy deployment here or whatever. I don't actually know technically. But are they kind of fucked?
I need to see what they're going to do next. That really comes down to how they are going to solve this, because I feel like the simple solution is just reduce the difference between top speed and harvesting speed so it's not so drastic. If someone suddenly slows down, you're not going to run up the back of them.
Carlos Sainz, who's the director of the Grand Prix Drivers Association. So for those new, or if you guys didn't know, it's more or less the trade union of F1 drivers. He didn't mince his words after the race. He said, and I'm paraphrasing to some extent, that the actual GPDA had warned the FIA exactly that this would happen, that they were told the racing was too exciting to change, and that the drivers had been saying for weeks that these closing speed differentials were going to cause a major accident. Sainz's words were, "We were lucky there was an escape road at Suzuka. Imagine this happening in Baku or Singapore or Vegas." He's right. You know, Suzuka has a runoff. Those tracks do not. They're just hard fucking street circuits with barriers that are meters away, if that. Now, since, and I don't know if you guys caught it, but the FIA have reiterated, they released a very typical generic press release that said, you know, meetings are going to take place in April to review the energy management regulations. Yeah, there are multiple meetings. However, none of that is new, guys. That was all dictated weeks and weeks ago. I think it was after Melbourne. They already had utilized this April period as a solution, or, you know, we'll get to it. We'll talk about it. But I think the framing is really important for me. They called it a safety review, not a quality of racing review. And for me, that's the tell, isn't it? Because the drivers have been saying all season that the product isn't good enough. The FAA has held firm on that. Max was told he was just a man with a bad car shouting at the clouds. The social media comments were all deleted. So many of them deleted. And not just on that one we called out weeks ago, but consistently.
It's
the F1.
It's just like, hey, everyone, we made the wrong decision. Please don't tell us.
Deleted.
Yeah. Even certain live grabs, which Ev has noted, of the cars were avoided so as not to fuel the fire. They're going to call it safety, right? Gents, let's be honest. Would it be fair to say that this could be a bit of a free get-out-of-jail pass for the FIA and F1, because perhaps they can look to implement changes under the banner of protecting its drivers rather than admit it's that, hey, we got it wrong. The racing product has been impacted negatively and we need to fix it.
I think I mean, again, this is just a hot take. If they don't fix it, I'm going to ask the question instead of make the statement. Are they in danger of a driver strike?
What a fascinating question. Has that ever happened?
Because that's like,
yeah, it has.
But they've done it in the NBA and stuff. Okay, so it has happened, right? So you just made he makes a great point. If that was Azerbaijan, maybe they're dead. No one's died in F1 for a long time.
I don't mean to
I'm
laugh.
not kidding. I don't mean that as a joke.
No,
you know what I mean?
Who's the way you said it. Who's the way you said it.
Maybe
the irony, we're talking about the Suzuka track as well, where someone
I know,
has
right? But
died
it's
in
like
memory.
It's in their best interest to sort this out quickly, because if they did die, can you imagine in this day and age someone dying in F1? Like, the whole point of it is to keep
This is the
drivers
longest
as safe
streak.
as possible. Yeah,
the longest streak in history that no F1 driver has died.
And the drivers,
and let's be honest, guys,
complain so much. If Albon's complaining, you know there's a fucking problem.
But actually, just to that point, it's fascinating what you've just said there, Diggs. I've never thought about it, about the fact that, you know, and until I realized what Carlos Sainz's role was, and that there actually is a trade union, which must be really hard to manage, right? Because they're all paid and remunerated so differently. It must be so hard trying to lobby like fair interests.
Yuki, anyways, can we have a strike? I'm not being paid enough.
Yeah.
Sure,
fuck
mate.
off, Yuki. But in this day and age, and I made mention the fact that there has not been a death in F1 for as long as. Out of curiosity, do you know when the last one was? Was it back in the 90s? Was that the last?
Yeah. Well,
I know obviously there have been deaths below F1. So F2 was that Jules?
Yes.
That was
I think that's a false equivalence to say that we haven't had a death. It's like, well, that's not the point. The point.
No. But that's my point, right?
But it's
sorry.
I know, yeah.
Well, my point was more that that's going to look so much worse on them because it's been so much safer. And now
that's my
suddenly,
point, Diggs,
if someone dies now, who fucked that? Who's got the blood on their hands? Who was the idiot who put this in
that's right.
and somehow made it more dangerous?
And my point was that it looks even worse because now everybody will see
everyone
it.
can talk about it.
You know, like F1 have spent years making F1 more accessible. And now
somehow
suddenly
I'm so much more
like,
angry about this than I was at the start of the episode. I hadn't even considered all this stuff. Fuck them, man.
What I will say is that in the football, my prerequisite weekly football analogy,
yeah, there it is. There it is.
A couple of years ago, they tried to do what they called a Super League, and it failed at the last hurdle.
Breakaway.
A few years ago, before that, they tried to do it, and it failed at the first hurdle. It is probably only a matter of time before it kind of works for these rich billionaire clubs. If you're in the F1, why do we have these referees who are just
So so I'm not gonna let's not go down the history of this. However, this is not a new question posed, is it, Ev? The idea of the F1 breaking away, and becoming its own independent from the FIA and becoming its has been something that's and correct me if I'm wrong, but even during the times of Bernie, there's a lot of talk about that. But obviously, it was in Bernie's best interest, given that he had his fingers in all pies, not to let that happen.
He did.
If anything, because he was getting all the hosting fees. Anyways, you touched on Verstappen. I don't think we can have this conversation without him. So after finishing P8, and we'll talk about like the position shortly, because we won't forget the race, and spending most of that race behind Gasly. He came off. He went to the media pen. He's gone to BBC and he said something that has ultimately gone around the world. He said, not exactly again verbatim, that he's thinking about walking away from Formula One at the end of 2026. So Diggs, in your absence, it's gone from I'm not having fun in these cars. These cars fucking suck. It's not about what position I finish. It's about being able to compete. It's gone now, obviously, to, I'm starting to think about what my life outside of this looks like. You know, he actually said, and this is his exact words, privately, I'm very happy. You wait for the races and then you just think, is it worth it? Or do I enjoy being at home with my family and my friends more when you're not enjoying your sport? His boss, Laurent Mekies, Red Bull boss, has come out within the hour and said, they're having zero discussions about any of that. That once they give Max a fast car, he'll be a happy Max, right? And I think Max has done actually a very good job of front-footing that, saying, don't try and tell me it's not about the performance of the car. It's about the F1. Now, Digby, you've watched this man win 4 world champs. Yeah. Obviously, you've missed a bit of his slow motion unraveling, but in playing catch-up, is this a man who you believe is checked out, or is this a man applying pressure to get the regulations changed?
I think this is a man who's very prepared to check out if nothing's changing, and he is.
Good call.
I can definitely relate to doing a job where you feel like you don't get to do it the way that you fell in love with it the first time, and it stops you wanting to turn up to work. So when you see Max going and racing everywhere else, that to me is a man who loves to race a car as fast as he can, as skillfully as he can. If you're going to change, if you're going to take control of how he races, he's going to have no problem. He's got his money. He's got his championships. He's got nothing to prove. He's like, okay, well, I'll go race go-karts at the fucking rinky-dink rocker.
I think that's why I love Max now.
Yeah. I love it.
I love Max these days, and I've really come to respect Max as not just a driver. I mean, I was gushing over him last week. I have fallen in love with Max, the driver, but I actually love him as an athlete because, okay, here's a topic for you. Max isn't media trained in the way that Lewis is. Max will say what Max wants to say.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best thing about Max. And the stuff that Max is saying doesn't feel scripted. It is raw, as in, like, I love racing. I love the F1 for what it was. I don't care where I finish as long as I can actually compete. And that's what I think is really important to listen to here is this is not a spoilt brat complaining because he's not winning anymore. This is someone with a genuine understanding and love for the craft.
But he did complain when he wasn't living anymore.
Yeah, but that was when he was... No,
before his 4 world titles. That was before his 4 world titles.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Well, but he's also mature. But hold on. Don't forget, we all hated Vettel. We all hated fucking Hamilton when they were younger because they were just fucking little arrogant wankers. You know,
in fact, I'll go as far.
But then they mature.
Hamilton is now the opposite of Verstappen. He's the one going, I love these cars. Yeah, mate, because you're not last anymore. And it's not because that's a man who doesn't enjoy driving. That is a man who only enjoys winning, no matter how he gets there. If it's a radio controlled car that he's pretending to drive and he's winning, he'll tell you it's the greatest driving experience he's ever had.
And he'll always thank the factory, whichever, even the remote control car factory. But look, I just want to say, I think Max, when Max talks, people should listen. Because Max has, I think, the best interests in play of much more than, fuck it, I'm going to go there. Sorry, Ev. But unlike Toto at the moment, who I love and adore, who is suddenly saying that this is the most purest racing. You know, it's like, hold on.
No, I
You're
agree.
the same bloke. You're the same bloke that 4 years ago when Mercedes were rotten. And don't get me wrong, the last regs were shit. Like the whole porpoise in the ground effect. Nobody nailed it except for Red Bull. But you know, he was sitting there fucking whinging and complaining because they were uncompetitive. Now he's saying this is the best thing ever. It's like, okay, you know what? I'm a bit done with all the agendas and all the bias. At the end of the day, the only people the F1 and the FIA should be listening to are the drivers. They are the ones that ultimately know the product.
It's a bit like having a firefighter or someone in the army, and like if they complain,
they're telling you to go that way.
Yeah, if they complain about the tools that you've bought for them, and you insist on not listening, or you blame them,
and you're not an F1 driver, it's like,
what's
for
your
bingo
agenda?
card here?
The FIA.
Here's your bingo card for wrestling. If a company bought out our company and had heaps of money and go, we've brought in these brand new rings for you to wrestle in, and every single person in that company goes, that's fucking awful. These are awful. I don't like it. It's dangerous. They're not gonna not change it. They're going to go, fuck, we better change this thing. Even if it made the products more exciting for the foreseeable weeks, it's like, but no one feels safe on this.
It's easy to change wrestlers, mate.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and maybe that's F1's view here is that there's plenty of other people that are lining up that will drive these cars. Well, that used to be the mindset
of the 90s. If you don't do it, someone else will. But it's blown my mind how many drivers complained about it this week. And I know I mentioned Albon before. I mean, as I said, not one to come out and complain about the product like he has.
Yeah.
And Carlos,
well, look,
everyone's.
There are some very interesting times ahead. And whilst the racing is on a break for the next 5 weeks, what isn't is the addressing of the future of those races. Some big decisions and discussions no doubt to come. But for now, let's move on.
Speaking of racing.
And dive into what else has actually happened at the race. So starting from the top, in first place was now, and I said it earlier, and I heard Ev moan when I said it. Oh, maybe it was Diggs, the youngest ever F1 championship leader, Kimi Antonelli. So he started from pole after a pretty epic qualifying that saw him beat George. But come lights out, he did not hold on to it for long. For the third time in 3 races, the Mercedes left the start line as if it had just remembered at the last moment that it was supposed to actually go forward. So Antonelli got heaps of wheel spin, which he actually admitted after the thing was a human error. He didn't release the clutch properly, ended up doing a burnout. He dropped to P6 on the opening lap, and there was a moment, and I think both of you were probably thinking it, where you wondered if this was the weekend it unraveled for him. I have a text message from you, Evan,
Bearman
that absolutely assures me that you were sure that he was done and dusted, but he wasn't. He fought back methodically, picked up positions, he got himself back into the fight for the podium. But then, to your point, Digby, on lap 22, Bearman crashed. The safety car came out, and Antonelli, who hadn't pitted compared to the other top cars in front of him, comes in for what is effectively a free pit stop. And what we mean by that, I think it's worth just noting for the newbies, is a pit stop is usually worth, and Ev, tell me if I've got this wrong here, anywhere between 20 and 25 seconds, right? So that's how long it will take a car to come in, go through, and you'll ultimately lose about 20 to 25 seconds on the cars around you. But under a safety car, it's more like 10 seconds, as the other cars can't actually drive that quickly around the track while you're going in. He came out of the pits in P1. He drove in clean air for the rest of that race. He ended up winning it by 13.5 seconds. Diggs, I'm coming to you on this one. And I want to flag that we're going to get onto George in a second. So I want you to focus on Antonelli for now.
I'll keep it focused.
I know we were all fairly aligned as a pod front last week that everyone needed to calm the fuck down when it comes to him winning a race. Because, again, we didn't get to talk to you about it, Diggs, but everyone, and I'm talking within half an hour of the race finishing, was, oh my God, he's a world champion contender. Can he do it? Can he win it? I get it. It's only been 3 races done. But where does Kimi rank in your mind as a genuine championship contender?
It's 50-50 between him and George.
Goat contender. Okay. That's what Oli just said.
It's 50-50 between him and George. I think it's pretty clear, unless that is solely based on
Yes.
the races that we've seen. I understand that I'm sure something will change, like it always does halfway through the season, but I can't predict that because it's this whole new, like they might change the car. Ignoring that, it's clear that no one's going to beat
Based on
Mercedes at
today.
this rate.
Yeah.
Feel like with the Mercedes car, whoever's out in front and has the clean air, unstoppable. Like I tend to just play devil's advocate with these things because the media loves to grab the new kid on the block and say he's going to be the greatest of all time, and I'm like, fucking shut. He won one race. Shut up. I'm always just like, well, I want to see some results before I, get it.
He had
I
such
don't
a
disagree
bad
with any of that.
half of
Yeah,
the
go
season
ahead.
last year, and it was
What?
like, and everyone was like, "Oh,
Season.
maybe this is too soon. Oh, maybe
Yeah.
he's too young. He doesn't have enough. He's making a mistake. Like you can't have it both ways.
But also, Ev, you also had the side of people going, he's going to be this, he's going to be that.
But they've always said that he has. He's always been identified as a wonder kid. Like they've always said.
I know,
this
and that's been my
special.
issue because last year it was kind of just thrown under the rug that he wasn't having that good a season, and that's where my issues were coming from. It's like, can we stop saying what a great season he's having? He's actually just in a good car. He's doing much worse than George.
Well, let's get on to George. Came in fourth position, and by his own accounts, the unluckiest man at Suzuka. And he would very much like you
Oli
to know
Bearman,
that.
George. Fucking idiot.
Russell fought all the way. Again, actually had a very poor start. So both Mercedes had a really bad start. He got himself back into P2 by lap 21. Understandably and unsurprisingly, he was right in the hunt, but then he pitted one single lap before the Bearman safety car. He came out P3 behind both Ferraris, and then as if the timing of the safety car wasn't bad enough, a software bug apparently in his car caused an unexpected super clip that actually slowed Russell down. You guys would have seen it when he was fighting Leclerc. There was a moment where, and one of those
super clip.
I wonder what happened there.
Jumping on the So he jumped on the radio, and I think it was something along the lines of like, "Unbelievable! Wow, fuck, our luck in these last two races." I should have got Ev to do that, given that he's just constantly chirping my ears with this whining English accent. But look, it's bad luck, lads. I get that. The reality is that the gap between winning and finishing fourth this weekend was actually only one pit stop. His post-race summary was one lap difference, and we would have won the race. And whilst he is right, he's also
they
wrong.
did win the race. His team won the race.
Yeah, but I think he's also wrong because racing is much about luck, whether you're creating your own or you're responding to it. Going by the data, the reality is, gents, he was the second fastest car on track pretty much all weekend behind Antonelli. So it might not have actually mattered if that safety car didn't come out, because I will also remind you that Piastri was doing a damn good job and George couldn't actually get past him. But Ev, Russell's now started the season with one win. He's got a P2 and a P4, while his teammate has obviously grabbed the 2 wins and a P2 and leads the championship. And I want to remind everyone, Kimi is a Mercedes driver from day one, but so is George. But George got stuck at Williams for 3 years, finally gets his chance at Mercedes, only to be Lewis's shadow in a very, very shit car. Now comes in to the year where, we've quipped about the fact that he probably feels this is his year. He deserves it. He's owed it. But now he's not actually beating his teammate. So, he's not. Okay, but entitlement only takes you so far. What do you got for me?
Well, he's white. It takes you far enough. Look, I think that the only thing because it's such a long season. Again, the media, fuck off. The only thing that I think that is telling or that like sticks, that he can't just brush off, is the fact that Toto came on the radio, like, Dad, like, your little brother's winning. Yeah, stop whining. Your little brother's winning.
It's just like my dad.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. All of our dads.
Yeah.
To be fair, that happened to Lewis as well. Toto would have to come on the radio and tell Lewis to stop complaining or, to calm him down.
Focus.
But then again, he's got like 7 world championships. Like, he can kind of do whatever he wants. He doesn't have to prove anything. But yeah, definitely for George, like 3 races in and Dad has to come on the phone and say, like, knock it off. Like, your little brother's winning. Like, just behave yourself. It's the opposite of what he wants to be perceived as, which is mature and successful. And he was neither of those things this weekend. And I think that that's more telling than the points on the scoreboard, because I don't think to be fair, and I want to hear Digby's point on this. I think you agree with me that Kimi is too young to have shown any sort of stability or presence, or he doesn't have experience for that.
He doesn't have the maturity. Yeah.
It's very rare for any athlete to succeed at that age. Like Messi didn't
withstand
even though Messi
Yeah.
started young, he didn't succeed.
No more
until
football. I'll
later
go
on.
to Digby. Digby, just out of curiosity, did you see the post-race really awkward video of George and Max?
Oh, George and Max. No, I didn't see that one. I had
sorry, George and Toto.
George and Toto. Yeah, it felt like Toto. What did I say? Toto saving face? Just like, we'll get him next time. It actually felt more for George than it did for the people watching social media. Because I know you were like, oh, they're saving on social media. I was like, that just felt like it was for George. Like, don't worry, man. Like,
it felt cringe is actually what it was. It felt fucking cringe.
Either way,
they're paying him like a quarter of what
George
is. They're paying George.
The most dangerous position you can be in anything in life is feeling that you deserve something. And I hear people throw that word around. Oh, I deserve. You don't deserve shit. You get what you fucking earn. No one's giving you anything. Just because you. Because I feel sorry for George because he was stuck at Williams in a shitbox. Then when he did get a chance to drive the Mercedes, he smoked potass. Then, when he was in the team with Lewis, he was the second driver and continuously beat Lewis, but no one cares because he's not Lewis Hamilton. It's, poor Fair Lewis, point. Not go George. Now he's number one, and everyone wants him. Everyone wants him to be worse than Kimi. So regardless if he is worse than Kimi is irrelevant because it's really clear everyone, and to be in that position is truly unfair. It's like, why doesn't anyone want me to win?
Why doesn't anyone love me?
Well, it doesn't matter why, but the point is,
I entitled
if
to
you go
love,
in and think he's got to be careful not to be landed, right? It's like, don't go in and go, I deserve this. This is my time. Or to be fair, that was more Zach. You've got to just be like, shit, okay, I've just lost.
This
two
is
races.
Lando's time. If you could just
it's my
step
fault.
aside for Lando.
It's my fault. My fault. It's not the team's fault. It wasn't the safety car. I've got to do better. I lost it in the qualifying. And I think he might be that guy once the day. Well, once the haze clears a little bit, the sunny haze.
Okay,
clears
I like it. Very good, man.
I hope he's
all right.
that guy.
That's a really great take. What a great, sensible rebut there. So glad to have you back, Diggs. There's some very, very mature thinking there, if not funny. It's what you do. Hey, look, we've got to speak the luck of the draw, and someone that may have actually won the race if a safety car didn't come out, and I would be more willing to put my money on this than for George if the safety car not coming out. And I obviously mentioned earlier is that of Oscar Piastri, who defied all recent race results to finish in second. Yeah, I think
she ran the numbers.
Has one race and come second. It's great.
She's like, of course, you can't predict what would have happened in the race, but there wouldn't have been a way for George wouldn't have been able to overtake.
Oh, well, sorry,
Oscar.
Because Oscar was winning at the safety car, right?
Yeah,
he was. Sorry, in my head, I keep thinking George was.
George wasn't.
No, George wasn't going to win that race. Oscar was going to win that race, but he was pulling away slowly, and suddenly, when it swapped, Mercedes blew him away.
Well, so clearly, whoever he started a Formula One Grand Prix for the first time this weekend. So as you recall, Melbourne, he crashed out on his reconnaissance lap. China, he had power unit failure before the lights went out. He obviously did the sprint race in China, but first proper Grand Prix start at Suzuka, and he led it for 22 laps. So he had a rocket launch from P3. He got past both Mercedes by turn one. And he just controlled the race. He was clean. He was confident. And by lap 18, he was on the radio telling his team that he thinks he can hang on. He then pits. He gets out ahead of Russell. So to your point, Diggs, he was ahead of Russell before the safety car. And then obviously the safety car came in and Antonelli benefited most from it. His post-race assessment was 4 words. I'll never know. That's 3.
No.
That's 3. Geez, there you go. I will never know.
I'll know. 3.5.
You 3.5. If we're playing Haas, you've been paying attention. That's a half point. And you have to wonder, right? Because, Antonelli, who was P4 at that point, was obviously the quicker car in the second stint, but Piastri had held George off behind him for 22 laps. Whether or not he could have done the same for the remaining 30-odd laps is obviously an unanswerable question. If I like your point that Bernie was suggesting that he could have. But what we do know, gents, is the McLaren season may have just changed shape. So this was not the broken team that we saw in China. Both cars finished in the top 5 with Lando locking down 5th. First podium of the year in the first real race of the year for them. They may well be back in the conversation. Diggs, 2 weeks ago, McLaren couldn't start a car. This weekend, they nearly won it. What do you make of that recovery?
I think it's a real shame that they're started behind the 8 ball and they have to recover. I think Oscar made it pretty clear that he is quite a contender in this race. If he can drive well enough to hold them off, I think it's going to be that case of whichever track is theirs, they'll be able to hold them off, and the tracks that aren't theirs, it's questionable, even if they're out.
Pretty impressive
front.
for Oscar to come back and
that's
out
what we
of
expect.
nowhere,
We expect
grab.
no less from Oscar because he deserves a championship. I wish I'd been around to talk about that guy Lando, the champion of F1, who no one seems to be talking about. But I know you guys have done it to death. But geez, Oscar's just stamping his authority, and I'm here for it.
Ev, so yeah, just on the papaya, has anything actually recently come out regarding their understanding of the Mercedes engine? Because obviously in China, there was a big concern that they weren't getting the information they needed from Mercedes. Like, why such a turnaround if you know? If not, all good?
I don't know. Perhaps we need some more context about us. You know what it's like to have to do marketing or to sell yourself. And what you learn is that it's all the things that somebody doesn't say. What you're seeing now, this is the first time that engine regulations have changed. James Vowles came out and said that he was surprised that he was expecting, and to deflate any sort of conspiracy theory, even he went on to say, and this has been said by many people many times, that not just Mercedes, but everybody's very good at giving the right kind of engine or the right componentry. So if you're a Ferrari customer, you are actually getting the exact same
what you pay for
engine. Yeah. So when James Vowles came out and he said that he was surprised that it wasn't as open a door policy as they expected and probably needed, it's safe to assume that McLaren have the same experience. Mm-hmm. It's as if Mercedes have given you this highly complex engine and battery architecture, but not given you the instruction manual, or not given
allegedly
you to it. Yeah, I mean that's the most.
So in the long way around metaphor. That, you have no idea if
no,
got any more information out of Mercedes.
Well, so my point being, they only had 3 days. They've had 6 days of preseason testing, and it's taken 3 races just for McLaren to even get into a race. And the first time they properly smoked Mercedes. Well, Oscar did anyway.
Well, one of them
smoking Mercedes, and it makes a lot of sense that yes, exactly why and what Mercedes didn't tell them is how to get the most out of my engine. Why would I help you? And of course, that makes sense. In saying that, it's gross, and nobody likes this.
Well, go and make your own fucking engine then.
Well, that thing. Well, that's true. But that thing about it's Toto's rubbing people the wrong way all season.
Well, I've got another conspiracy
Toto's
theory on he's back on Mercedes development shortly. But look, very quickly, we're going to rush through the rest of the race results. Rounding out the podium was Charles Leclerc, who came in at P3 for Ferrari. Look, excellent race. Ferrari obviously let both he and Hamilton race each other in China, and it gave us one of the best wheel-to-wheel battles of the season. In Japan, it wasn't quite as, intriguing, but the battle was actually this time Leclerc versus Russell in the final stint. At one point, Russell did get past Leclerc, but he came back at him pretty much at the next turn, and he held on for third, which is epic. It's Ferrari's third consecutive third.
Podium, yeah.
I think so.
Podium? Yeah, it is, because, it's been 1-2s for Mercedes. But obviously it wasn't all roses and butterflies. Pretty terrible. Was Lewis's assessment and response to the weekend. Obviously not his time in Japan, which he clearly spent with the Kardashians doing samurai swords, which nobody seems to want to address. But he started in P6. He finished in P6. Getting lucky, the safety car actually gave him a free pit stop and briefly elevated him to P3. But after the restart, Lewis then noted that the power just went, apparently. He couldn't explain it. He couldn't keep Leclerc behind him. He couldn't keep Russell behind him. He couldn't stop Norris going past in the closing moments. His most striking comment wasn't about the race. It was about his own car. He said, Somehow Charles had more power than me today in the same car, so I need to understand why that is. Diggs is someone who loves to quash the Ferrari hopes. 3 races in, 3 podiums, a team that,
loving it.
I got to be honest, I'm most excited about seeing what development they bring to Miami. Has your belief or expectations for them changed?
I don't believe they're going to win, but I do love seeing them compete, because there's a difference between coming third and crying about your car and coming third and that felt good. Like, I liked that. That's positive. That means you're getting the most out of your car that you believe that you can, and you're not sitting in P6 going, I don't get it. I don't understand. It's just everyone's faster than me. What am I doing wrong?
Hey, we've done P1 to P6. In 7th was again in the points, Alpine's Pierre Gasly.
Hey, most underrated driver of the season.
Good for them.
I know. And I don't want to move past this too quickly. Look, Gasly spent the entire second half of that race with Verstappen glued to his gearbox, lap after lap, Max behind him. Max, who has won this race 4 consecutive times. He called this circuit his turf in the previous... No, we called this circuit his turf. But look, Gasly held him off for the entirety of it. Not with dirty driving, just pace management and racecraft. And as a result, Alpine have now leapfrogged Red Bull in the Constructors' Championship. Yes. And Gasly has actually also leapfrogged Max. So I'm going to say that again. Alpine are above Red Bull in 2026. Lads, acknowledging that Alpine teammate Colapinto often seems to get headlines for the wrong reason, the turnaround for Alpine, or at least Gasly, to kick off 2026 has actually been nothing but impressive, surely, to you
they
both.
Bigging him up. They were bigging him up before the race. And I was like, you know what? I hadn't been on the pod, so I hadn't been able to say anything. But I always notice, just for whatever reason, I don't know why, when Gasly does well, it's probably ever since because when he left Red Bull and he started performing really well for RB, and I was like, well, he's clearly not the problem. That was when I was like,
that's right.
And then, he got into Alpine, and then they were a bit shit. But then every now and then he just have these great races, and now it's been consistent this year. I'm really enjoying watching him race well. Like, if he was to come P5, that would feel like as exciting as a win for another driver,
Yeah, agreed. Look, in moving to P8, obviously we noted when we were talking about Gasly, and we've touched on him a few times, but Max Verstappen, look, he didn't make Q3. He got knocked out in Q2. His own teammate, Isaac Hadjar, who's only been his teammate for 3 races, out-qualified him again. The man who has won this race so many times in a row started outside of the top 10. So, we quipped in last week's episode about trying to understand what a good weekend would look like for Max, and this definitely wasn't that. He couldn't get past Gasly. He finished at the bottom of the top 10. And as I said, he did what Max does best. He stirs the media when, he went straight to the pen and told the BBC that he's thinking about whether or not he should continue in F1. Apparently, he also put his foot through the wall in there. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Yeah. But look, his team boss, as I said, was very quick to say that the moment they give him a competitive car, he'll be happier. Which may be true. Gents, in rounding out the top 10, actually, we had Racing Bull Liam Lawson. He came again in 9th place, your fellow New Zealander.
Liam Lawson.
I'm fucking Liam Lawson. And Esteban Ocon grabbed his first points with a 10th place finish. As I said, Alpine are ahead of Red Bull, but now so is Haas. And actually, Racing Bulls are only 2 points behind them in the constructors' standing. So the junior team is actually not far off outperforming the senior team.
I love Haas.
Look, we joked last year about Racing Bulls when they were outperforming Red Bull in the early stages. 2 very quick questions for you guys. Not very serious ones. Noting that Isaac also called out how awful the Red Bull was on the weekend, why doesn't Max actually have a go in the Racing Bull? At least over the break. And second of all, is the Red Bull driver number 2 curse actually hitting Max and not Isaac?
I mean, can you call it a curse when the car's
There's the TikTok right there, buddy.
I mean, maybe now that they've got these new regs, he's the new number 2 man. Yeah. I don't think they're never going to put him in an RB. It's just like admitting defeat. It's admitting that their team's got a shit car.
True. Yeah.
What they need to do is bring back Christian Horner. And
just repaint the Racing Bull.
Bring back Christian Horner.
Yeah, I like it. There's your take. Bring back Horner. Bring back Marco. Yeah, why not? Bring back Yuki. All right. Look, no real notable mentions to call out. Maybe the fact that Alonso finished his first race in the Aston Martin. Actually, probably what's worth calling out outside of the top 10 is that both Cadillac drivers beat Williams. They beat Albon.
Boom.
So again, like, fuck me, you talk about a
Moving
team that's
on
in
up.
trouble. I said it last week and I'll say it again. I think the biggest team with the most to lose and the biggest risk rolling into this next 5 weeks and not getting it right is that of Williams. But for those who missed last week, before every race, we go on to record and lock in our predictions, and then we come back and account for ourselves, like the grown-ups we are who take accountability. Now, Tay's not here tonight, which I find very, very convenient given what is about to happen. Against our 4 categories of race winner, rest of podium, biggest surprise and biggest disappointment, we had, drum roll, the biggest disappointing weekend ever. So for race winner, would you look at that? None of us got it right. So I had Charles, Ev had George, Tay had Lewis. So, Digby had been here, he would have been yelling at us for even thinking Ferrari were in the hunt. So 0 points across the board. Diggs, just out of curiosity, would you have picked George? Would you have picked George last week if you were sitting here a week ago?
No, for sure. Yeah, I would have picked George.
Good. Yep.
I would have.
Yep.
Okay,
so you
George,
would have been wrong too.
Yeah, I would have said George, Charles, and Oscar. If McLaren, assuming McLaren got on the grid, I did think Oscar would be up there. But
okay,
yeah,
well, welcome to the Zero Club.
Yeah.
No, so for the rest of the yeah, but he wasn't. We do it by order. So for the rest of the podium, I had George and Max, so 0. Ev had Kimi and Max, so 0. Tay had George and Charles, so he actually got Charles right. So, you could give him half a
Kimi,
point.
So I won. I got Kimi. I said Kimi.
No, you said Kimi would be part of the podium,
I
not
said
first
Kimi,
place.
Yeah, first place.
So I've heard from you, Diggs. In terms of biggest surprise, look, I'm not going to lie. This gets really diabolical very quickly here. I had Bearman in the top 5. I predicted his highlight of the weekend and instead got his worst moment, so 0 points. Ev had Max on the podium thinking he was clever by covering off 2 questions with 1 answer. He also got 0 points. And Tay, like Ev, trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, had Lewis winning as a surprise. Even though he's predicted Lewis to win every race this year, somehow that would have been a surprise.
Yeah, only needs to work once.
0 points there, and minus, if anything, for being lazy and choosing double-barreled answers. Clean sweep of just wrong there. And it doesn't get much better for biggest disappointment. So I had Antonelli as a DNF. I'm going to say this slowly. I predicted that Kimi Antonelli would retire from the Japanese Grand Prix, which he ended up winning by 13.5 seconds. So I cannot stress enough how completely, catastrophically, embarrassingly wrong that is. Ev had a McLaren disaster. They had their best weekend. So, you too can join my club. And Tay had the biggest disappointment of Haas with no points. And Ocon got his first points of the year. So no points. But again, I think he should be given negative points for suggesting that Haas not scoring points is a disappointment. They rarely fucking score. So just because they did for the first 2 races, fuck it, I'm not getting into it. So in summary, nobody gets any points here. We're all the idiots of the week. How pathetic. Diggs, I'm sorry we let you down. Listen, I'm sorry
you didn't let me down at all. That's not letting me down.
I'm sorry we let you down.
I don't know what the opposite of letting someone down is, but that's what you did.
That was bad. Haas being a disappointment if they don't get points. I mean, really. Hey, speaking of Haas, it is time for Haas. You've been paying attention. That's right. It is time for the segment that has somehow become the most iconic thing we do, which tells you everything about what kind of show this is. So for anyone new, welcome. This is Haas. You've been paying attention. Our weekly quiz, 8 questions, 4 on the F1 and I guess the racing or races, and then 4 on the culture and the history and somewhat the trivia of the country we've been racing in, which this week, again, is obviously Japan, because we will not touch Miami until we get closer to Miami. Now, ideally, this is a 3-person shootout, Ev, Tay and Digby, all going at it. Chaos and noise and buzzer sounds and someone getting absolutely nothing right for 4 episodes. Tay's not here, which means tonight is back down to the original gangsters, the ones who were there before Tay was even a concept, arguably the 2 people who should be best at this quiz, although you both lost to Tay last year. So the rules, gents. Questions 1 to 3.
I was the host last year.
True. Well, you don't count. Good point. Questions 1 through 6.
I was a listener and I lost.
You buzz in first. If you're right, you get the point. If you're wrong, the other person gets a crack at it. Questions 7 and 8 are obviously the danger zone. Different rules. If you buzz in and you're wrong, you lose points. How many points? Well, that's going to be at my discretion, depending on how much you're winning by. So going into tonight, as I said at the top of the episode, Ev is on 4. Digby, you are on 1. Tay is at home, presumably reading the scoreboard update from his phone. It's also on 1. The gap between first and last is only 3 points. The game is very much alive, so make something of it. And first things first, let's get your buzzers. Diggs, you are up first, as we've missed you so much. What have you got?
I was going to use some of the impressions of George, but I now can't remember what the impressions were. I was like, I got to remember that one. Do it. Yeah, it's the safety car.
Yeah, good.
Something
like
like
it. Yeah, well done. I like that you're going against the one that you love. So, bravo to you.
It was funny.
F, what do you got for me?
I was going to go again with In Japan Men Come First. That was a good one.
That was good. You missed that last week, Dave.
I wouldn't say I missed it. Another Austin Powers reference.
Yeah.
He loves it.
In honor of my favorite meme of the weekend, I'm going to go with go to sleep. Just go to sleep.
You're an idiot. Fuck. Were you here for when? No, you weren't. When he did the succulent Chinese meal, you missed that one, didn't you, Diggs? Oh, Jesus. All right. Question number 1. Kimi Antonelli is now the youngest championship leader in F1 history. 19 years and 216 days old. He broke a record that had been held for quite some time. I've just realised that the rest of that question would have probably revealed the answer. Who held it before him, and roughly how old were they? Yeah? What do you got?
Vettel.
Wrong.
What?
Wrong. He was not the youngest.
It's like the youngest triple, right? Youngest.
This quiz is wrong.
Just the youngest driver to be leading the championship at any given point. So it could have been just for one round. Yeah, what do you got?
Max Verstappen.
Wrong. Gents, it was Lewis Hamilton in 2007 after the
Digby
Spanish
would rather
Grand Prix.
get that wrong than approve.
Yeah.
Than to validate Lewis.
Third race in F1. He was 22 years old, something like 5 months. The record stood for 19 years, and Antonelli beat it.
He would have been
by nearly
so
3
proud
years.
of that. He would have pretended he was really
he would
happy
be
for Kimi
furious.
too.
Now he'd be like, last week, happy Lewis for Kimi. This week, no. I was happy for you to win one race, but not to break any of my records, Kimi. Question number 2. So Antonelli won back-to-back races in China and Japan. He's the first Italian to do that in F1 since when? Stumped him. Got him.
Safety car.
What do you got?
1976.
Nope.
What was your base? Show you're working on that answer there.
I have 0 working. I wrote down.
He just literally took a stab. Ev, what do you got?
I got nothing.
Okay.
How'd you come up with that answer, mate?
It's all right. Alberto Ascari, who we spoke about.
Oh, yeah, he's famous.
In a couple of minutes. So in 1952 and 53, he actually won the final race of 52, and then he dominated the start of 53, rattling off consecutive victories. So that's over 70 years ago. You couldn't just
guess a year, Ev? You couldn't just guess a fucking year.
That's a long way back.
Apparently
not.
Right.
We're at 0-all. Question number 3. Mercedes have now won the first 3 races of the 2026 F1 season, 3 from 3, a clean sweep to open the year. Before Mercedes this season, which was the last constructor to win the opening 3 races of an F1 season?
Oh, safety car.
Here we go. I can't tell if you're being like, I don't know the answer, but it's your buzzer.
I think... Oh, it has to be a different constructor, doesn't it? Shit.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I can think of 2.
McLaren. No, wrong.
I was going to say Mercedes. It can't be Mercedes, so it has to be someone different.
I think there's some.
Quick, 3, 2.
My brain says Red Bull, but my heart says Brawn. I'm going to go with Brawn.
Should have gone with your brain. It was Red Bull in 2023. So Verstappen won Bahrain, Perez won Saudi, and Verstappen won Australia.
I was thinking,
I didn't want that to be the
Verstappen
answer.
didn't win one. I forgot that Perez actually won races for Red Bull.
Yeah, he did. He won the one, and that's how he kept in it.
I think that was the year Red Bull went on to win something like 19 of that season's 22 races.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so there you go. They're currently matching the opening pace of the most dominant team in the modern F1 era.
1-0 to F.
Wait, no. Nil. No, fuck. Nil. Question
You said
4.
Brawn.
I'm pretty sure it's 1-0 to Evan.
With 5 weeks break, there's an eerie winter-summer break feeling where championship ranking starts to come into strong focus. Whilst we're only 3 weeks in, for 2 points, give me the Constructors' Championship standings in order as of today.
Do it, Digby.
Okay, in the safety car, it goes.
Got to buzz in. Got to buzz in.
I did.
Why'd you say
safety
car?
Yeah, that's my buzzer.
I just said, why'd you say safety car? I was so confused. You didn't do it.
Okay.
Go.
So it's going to go
Quick.
Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren, Alpine.
Wrong.
Red.
Stop you there. There you go. You got 3 head start there. What do you got, Ev? I bet you he says Alpine. I bet you he says Alpine at exactly the same point you did.
Shit. Who's in the
Singapore.
midfield? Who's in the midfield?
Come on, quick, rattle it
Audi.
I know who it is.
Audi.
No.
You,
RB,
what
you
the
idiot.
fuck?
No, I get that.
yeah,
3
are
points
Are you
to
joking? No points to either of you. Unbelievable. Just so you know, this
RB.
proves to me how little,
Nobody else
how
matters.
little you pay attention. The Constructors' Championship at the moment is Mercedes in first, Ferrari second, McLaren third, Haas fourth, Alpine fifth, Red Bull
Is
sixth,
Haas
Racing
fourth?
Bulls. Yeah, Racing Bulls seventh, Audi eighth, Williams ninth,
I said
Cadillac
Audi.
10th, and Aston Martin. Yeah, you don't just fucking dickhead. Right, that's it for the F1 half.
3
now we're
points
going to
to
go to
Oh,
Japan.
nil all.
Nil all.
For the
Unbelievable.
Formula One part.
And
There
that's
we
for the F1 part, so fuck knows how we're going to go here.
That was a
It's
hard
time
question
for the culture.
to get all of them in
history
order.
Before we
and
get
trivia.
into this,
1 point.
Digby's a
Yes.
bit of a weeb, so it's it's an uphill battle here.
Yeah, you're in trouble. He likes Japan culture. Right, question 5. I've done this on purpose. Japan is
Samurai.
famous for its vending machines, and for good reason. They sell everything: hot meals, umbrellas, luxury items, umbrellas. Roughly how many vending
You said
machines
umbrellas
are there
twice.
in Japan in total? I
Go,
asked you
Digby.
this years ago.
Oh, yeah, ChatGPT.
To the nearest-
You did it multiple choice, and I got
I
it
did,
apparently
didn't I?
wrong, and then ChatGPT
I got
And
it
then
right. I got it
Because-
right. And I think I remember the answer.
Well, it could
Because
be
you
wrong
said it was
this
a
time.
million.
I
I was like,
haven't
that's
fact-checked
way more. 20 million.
No, that is not the answer I have.
2 million.
No.
It's more than that.
I'm
I
just
thought it was
checking.
2 million.
6 million.
No, it's not. It's 5 million.
Oh, there you go.
I knew it wasn't
well,
one, and I remember that
To
was
be
the
fair,
answer.
Google
One.
is
That's right,
now
that's
telling
right.
me. Google is now
million.
telling me that it's between 2.6 and 5.5 mil.
Closest.
I don't know.
Closest to
Fucking
the pin.
whatever.
Closest to the pin.
God. Oh my god. To be fair, I don't think we got close to that answer the first time we did it.
Actually, I
either.
got it
No, I
right
think I
the
got it
first
right.
time.
Did you?
I got it.
Yeah, because I said you gave us like 500,000,
Here we go.
1 million,
Okay.
2 million, or
Okay.
5. And I said, I know it's heaps, so I went with the top one. And you're like,
Okay.
nah, it's
All right.
1. I was like, 1? And then we
Yeah,
looked it up,
you were
and
right. That's right, I
ChatGPT
remember.
would
I
tell.
remember.
ChatGPT tells you that it's 1.
Yeah, and then tells you you're right when you tell it it's 4. That it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yes,
it's-
you're
oh,
right.
yes, it is
It
4,
is 1
yes.
million.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, question 6. Question 6, Digby,
Nil.
if you don't get this, the word karaoke is now used globally, but it comes from 2 Japanese words. What do these words
Go
mean
to sleep.
in English?
Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Silent
What do you
disco.
got?
Yeah,
Or
that's
silent
correct.
orchestra
No.
or something like that. Silent.
It's not silent disco.
Oh.
Sorry, mate. Incorrect.
All right, half a point
Also
then because I got the first one right.
Which
No, you
half?
You can have the other
of
half.
the word. Which half
Yeah,
of
which
the word
first
did you
one?
get?
The first
No,
half.
you're wrong. You're wrong.
What?
Yeah, you're wrong. It's not silent. Right, Digby, you have a song, literally, with this in the title.
Do you know what? So before I get this question wrong, Japanese people don't know that I say karaoke bar because I pronounce
they
it
think
like
you
an
say?
English person. Well, okay, so if it was in Japanese, you should say karaoke bar, and I say karaoke bar. So when
Because you're
they
not
White
hear it,
trash.
so we did one of the shows in Kyoto. I'm handing out the microphone so people can sing along, and they
And it doesn't fit the
pronounce
beat?
it, but they don't realize I'm saying what I'm saying. So they're like Tokyo
No way.
karaoke man. They just mouth the words like
So,
they're imitating.
How I sing
By
every
the
song
way-
where I don't know the words.
By
I
the
just-
way, a Japanese audience, world renowned, infamous for their engagement with
They are.
F1 podcast.
They're engaged.
no, with like an artist.
Yeah, no, they're the best crowds ever. God, now he said silent disco. Now I can't even remember.
Oh!
what it is.
Oh!
It's
I'll give you 3 seconds.
yeah, fucking.
I win.
1. Right.
I've won.
So
I've
something
won.
orchestra.
None there.
I won on
no, you get
principle.
nothing. Kara, meaning empty.
Empty.
Oke,
Silent,
short
as
for
if silent.
Okesitura. No, empty, not silent, you fuckwit.
Empty orchestra. Yeah.
Meaning orchestra. So empty orchestra,
Silent
literally.
disco.
which is either poetic or deeply depressing,
You're
depending on
welcome.
what you've heard on a Saturday
Well, we
night.
just wrote points.
Right, guys, we are in the danger zone. And it is still fucking nil all. Oh my God. As you know, question 7 and 8, you get them right, you gain points. But if you get them wrong, you lose points. Usually I try and kind of actually make this a bit of a trap. You might lose 2 points, but you're both on fucking 0. So you're just going to lose a point.
Just going to go for it.
Question number 7. The Shinkansen, Japan's bullet train network, is one of the most remarkable engineering achievements in human history. It began operations in 1964 and in over 60 years of service, transporting more than 10 billion passengers. How many fatalities has the Shinkansen recorded due to train accidents? A, 0, B, 45, C, 260, or D, 1,306.
A, 0.
I would have said
right.
0.
Oh,
He didn't call in, though. He didn't.
Oh, sorry.
I got to say 0.
79.
There we go. I can't just say, if that
you
were
both
me.
knew that. Oh,
Yeah,
he did
I
call
was-
in.
Why?
I thought it was 0 or 1. I did do it.
You-
before.
You would be the first one to say that doesn't
You
count.
could have jumped in at any point and you didn't.
how
You waited for me to
convenient.
say the
How
answer
con-
before
this is
you
what I
jumped
have
in and
to
then
put
said
up
you didn't
with
jump in.
Year after year, dear
Right.
listener.
Okay, Ev Digby gets half a point because there was no buzzer. No buzzer.
Yeah.
All right.
Half point.
So
So,
you
I
can
win.
still
Yeah,
It's
so
win.
we
half a
both
point.
get a half a point.
Well, no, we've got one more
No.
question. We've got one more question.
Go back to your silent
But
disco.
yeah, there you go. Guys, that's pretty amazing. You know, train that
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah,
carries 10
unbelievable.
billion people. Not. Anyways, question
Oh, yeah.
number 8. The game of Sudoku has a Japanese name. Su meaning number, doku meaning single. And it is played
Silent disco.
excessively around the world. Japan popularized it globally. But Sudoku was not invented in Japan. Which country was it actually created in? A, South Korea. B,
He was looking
China.
at his phone.
C, Vietnam. D, USA.
Oh my god, I wish you hadn't said USA because I was going to say South Korea.
Are you buzzing in?
I've already buzzed in.
Oh, I
He
didn't hear
did.
that. Oh,
He
you
did.
said
I
South
heard him.
Korea?
No, I heard him.
Yeah.
Oh, well done, Ed. You're the winner. Digby, you lost. The answer is USA. Woo!
When you said USA,
you lost a point. You lost the
I
point.
thought you were going to not say USA. I was like, oh, I'll be South Korea. And then you said USA. I was like, oh,
Very
I
good.
don't
Yeah,
wanna
it
change my
was
answer.
created by Howard Garnes, an American architect, apparently from
I
Indiana.
can't hear the
So,
sound of this silent disco, did we?
there you go. That is it. Hush, you've been paying attention. Done for another week. That makes
Ev won
on
without
5.
answering a single fucking question.
No, he didn't get
Silent
one question
disco
right.
is
Anyone?
great.
He did
Yeah.
not get one. It's wild. I kind of feel bad. Anyways, I should have made him answer it.
I should have
don't.
got more. I
Yeah.
still can't.
Well, there you
believe
go.
half
There you
a
go.
point.
That
I would
is
have chosen it. Anyway.
Crazy.
I'll take
Right,
it.
with all that said and done, it's time to wrap up the episode with a few things from outside world that happened in the week. It's your headlines we want to make sure you cross. It's time for What's Verstappenin. So for newcomers, this is our version of Pardon the Interruption. I've got 5 topics today, just quick takes, and we are absolutely quick takes here. There is no time for fluff, no
fucking about
filter either. I'll give you the context, and then Evan Digby, you've got 30 seconds. I am literally going to cut you off tonight. 5 topics today. Let's go. Topic number 1, Alonso's I'm going to be a dad. Fernando Alonso, 44 years old, 2-time world champion, currently driving a car that vibrates so badly it gave him nerve damage in his hands. And this week, his first child was born. He missed Thursday's media day at Suzuka to be at the birth, got on a plane overnight, landed in Japan Friday, obviously jet-lagged the shit, and was in the car for FP2. Now, the news was actually broken in the paddock, not by Alonso, but by Colapinto, who told a journalist before Alonso had even touched down that Alonso is a dad and that he's going to start calling him daddy from now on, which is super fucking weird. Lads, does becoming a dad at 44 while driving a machine that literally injures you make Alonso more or less likely to stick around? Diggs, 30 seconds now.
Less likely with this car that he's driving. You know, he's not. When you have, imagine if you have kids, it's just you want to be home more, and he's pretty old
Certainly
now.
what Max
Like, there's
said.
no need to. He's no need to keep doing this. The only reason he'd stick around is if he wants his kid to see him race one day, which would require him to stick around for at least another 5 years.
The LeBron agenda.
The LeBron of F1. All right, very good. Ev, thoughts on Alonso retirement? Imminent, or he's going to just flog it as long
Is
as
this
he
his
possibly
first
can?
child?
Yes, it is.
First that we know of.
After that relationship with Taylor Swift last year?
You meant to answer the question, Ev. Come on, snappy.
No, I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon.
I believe he has a +1 offer on his contract, which was he getting paid like 20 or 30 mil? Like, why?
Yeah.
I mean, why would you say no to that if you can take it
Yeah.
and not have the pressure of expectation on
Kids
you?
don't remember their first birthdays.
Yeah, fair call, fair call. All right, topic number 2, Mercedes tinfoil hats and electric cars. So stay with me on this one, because I find this either completely fascinating or mildly sinister, depending on the mood I'm in. So in 2022, actually I think it was a little bit earlier, but thereabouts, Mercedes entered Formula E, the all-electric racing series. They won the championship, drivers and constructors, and then immediately announced they were leaving. Done, off, back to focusing on F1. Now, the 2026 Formula One regulations require a 50-50 split between internal combustion and electric power, the most obviously electrified F1 era in history, and Mercedes are 3 wins from 3. By all accounts, Toto was very involved in that Formula E project. They've got an engine that rivals have accused of exploiting a compression ratio loophole worth around 10 to 15 extra horsepower. Ferrari, Honda, and Audi all missed it. Mercedes didn't. The question being quietly asked in the paddock at the moment, and now loudly asked on this podcast, is whether Mercedes' Formula E involvement wasn't really about Formula E at all, whether they were using it as a legal development sandbox for the 26 F1 technology while rivals were restricted in what they could do under existing regulations. Lads, firstly, did you even know Mercedes were Formula E? And second, is them joining, winning, and immediately quitting FE actually one of the most audacious long game plays in the history of motor racing, or am I wearing a tinfoil hat? Digby, go.
I had no idea, and yes, of course,
Isn't
that's
it
why
great
they did
story?
it. Otherwise, they would have just stayed there. And I think anyone who says that's not what they did needs to actually make the argument, because that is in itself proof enough that that's what they were doing. So now you need to give me the proof that that's not what they did.
How clever!
And that's
how fucking.
Because I always wondered why he had that smirk at the start of the race, like. We got this. He's like, we've been racing Formula E, this piece of business. You guys have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah, you got. Yeah, I mean,
well,
bravo.
Ferrari, you've got the smaller turbo and just pantsing them off the line.
Yeah. True.
And the restarts. Yeah, and McLaren with the same engine and turbo pants.
Well, they'll
both
play
of
catch
them.
up. But did you know about it, Ev? And do you think that's just really smart play, or am I being a bit of a conspiracy theorist here?
I think what I'm disappointed in is that
keep it to 30 seconds.
And I guess like with any development in Formula One, I'm just disappointed that somebody else didn't think of it at the same time.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
What I will say, and I'm in the same. I agree with Digby, but what I will say is, if you try and pull that shit at any casino, right,
you are getting fucking dragged out.
You're gonna get fucked up. Like they know where the cameras don't. Like they know where there's no cameras. It's in the car park.
Right, very good. I get it. Right, topic 3. Super Mario at Suzuka, the worst timing? I save this for here because I think it deserves its own moment of appreciation, because no marketing department in the world could have scripted this more perfectly badly. So this weekend at the Japanese Grand Prix, as part of an official F1 commercial partnership, the cast of the new Super Mario Galaxy movie were in the paddock. Jack Black waved the checkered flag for Antonelli. The cast watched from the Ferrari garage. Obviously, F1 fully leaned in. On the same weekend that Bearman nearly died from what drivers are literally calling the mushroom boost, that Verstappen, who has been comparing F1 to Mario Kart for months, threatened retirement from a sport because of cars that require functions like a Mario Kart power-up. Gents, could you have scripted this any better? And does F1's marketing department deserve a raise or a disciplinary hearing? Diggs, go.
I think the only way you could have done this better is if it had been Max, because Max would have been more explosive. Or if they had like
if he was one who crashed
with Jack Black and Chris Pratt going around, and the same thing happened, and then
or one of them had to interview him after.
Like yeah.
Give me Jack Black trying to fit into a Formula One car.
Jesus, I don't think either of them could fit into a Formula One car, mate.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah. So just on Jack Black, I forgot that when he waves the flag, someone's actually waving the flag. It's like giving the Dwight the steering wheel on the ship in the office, and it's like it's a fake wheel, dummy.
I don't know.
And yeah, so they've got a video of him flying the flag, and then the actual guy's up there.
Well, yeah, because some people.
Because didn't someone fuck it up once? Like Kim Kardashian?
Yeah, the guy.
Something?
So Lewis's girlfriend fucked it up once.
Yeah.
So not Kim,
the guy
who's
the CEO of Apple, he fucked it up.
Tim Cook. All right, quick F, go. 30 seconds.
No,
Great marketing, terrible timing, awful.
I think that the marketing expert of the team is giving too much credit to the marketing department of Formula 1. They don't know what the fuck. And like Jack Black was the only one who was like actually engaging.
Wasn't he?
Wasn't he?
Wasn't
The others
he
were awful.
amazing? God, they
The
were
others were
boring fucks.
awful.
He's
Yeah,
so
fuck.
good. I actually
He
said that to
understood-
someone
he understood
on the
the
plane. I was like,
assignment.
isn't Jack Black just always good for an interview?
Can't
He
he be there
knows
every-
how to do an interview. It's like, oh, this is boring. I better make it fun. And he does.
Yeah.
Like
I
Terry
agree. I agree.
Crews
He's
is great. He's clearly
Terry's
very
great.
passionate about putting on it. He understands they've got to put on a show. They're not
I
here
think
to
they
see
need to get
me.
Martin back. All right, topic number 4. Max says, keep walking, old man, and don't even look at it. That's a Hangover reference for anybody.
I've only ever seen the
Anyways,
Austin
Thursday,
Powers.
Suzuka, before the track action has even started, Verstappen is in the Red Bull hospitality unit for his scheduled media session. He looks up and he sees Giles Richards from The Guardian in the room. He stops and he says, I'm not going to begin until he's gone, pointing out at Richards. Richards approaches, tries to explain himself, and Verstappen says, get out, apparently twice.
Yeah.
So the backstory there is last December after the Abu Dhabi finale, Richards asked Verstappen whether he regretted the Spanish Grand Prix collision with George Russell, which actually cost Max, I think, about 9 points and inevitably the championship. Verstappen answered the question then, but he claims Richards was laughing while he asked it. And Max kind of said afterwards, clearly done with bad intent. He called it a massive lack of respect, and 4 months later, still obviously very bothered about it. So Richards left. The session continued. Verstappen was then summoned to a meeting with Red Bull boss, who reportedly made clear that Red Bull does not throw journalists out of its hospitality area, and this did not reflect the team's values. Richards then wrote in The Guardian afterwards that he was deeply disappointed, that he still admired Verstappen, and that sometimes difficult questions have to be asked. Lads, do you think Max had a right to do that? And if you were a journalist in that room when it happened, do you walk out in solidarity with Richards or just go, fuck off, mate, I'll ask your questions? Diggs, go.
Yeah, I'm with Max here because I think there was more to it where he kept asking him this question over weeks, and he was like, "I gave you your fucking answer. Fuck off and ask me something else."
Okay.
Okay. I think it was very Max fashion to kick him out. I actually had no problem with it.
I love
and
it.
if I'm another journo, I'm going, see you, Richards, get fucked, mate.
Yeah.
Learn to be a good journalist, you Guardian fuck. Like, who works at the Guardian and for a moment thinks that they're a real
over the
journo?
Guardian? Yeah. What I will say is that in the F1 movie, one of the subplots is that Sonny Hayes has a bet with some scumbag English.
Oh, some journo. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
Probably the same guy.
And it gives
Probably
him
the
like a
same
big
guy.
wallet of cash or
Wallet of
something,
cash.
like an
That's
envelope
right,
of cash.
yeah.
And it's and I was just thinking, it's been so long since we've had scumbag journalism, because so much journalism now is just like internet journalism.
Yeah.
Or
People
like
that can't
Guardian
write.
Online. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
have to be in the room
Really-
asking the questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really old fashioned to have a proper scumbag. And I was like, why is this in the movie? That's not what it is
And it
anymore.
doesn't exist
Journalists
anymore.
are too
yeah.
careful about protecting their jobs. Anyway,
Or they're
apparently
too
that's
bad
not
at
true.
their jobs.
Yeah, or
they're
they're not
bad
good
at their
enough.
jobs and they're
And,
just fucking hacks.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go. Consensus there. Topic 5, last one. The greatest ever chocolate heist. So finally, I want to close tonight with what is objectively the best story of the week. So F1's official chocolate partner is KitKat. They have a global partnership. They make special F1-branded bars, little chocolate racing cars. They are adorable, they're marketable, and they're definitely delicious. But last Friday, Nestle has come out and confirmed that a lorry carrying 413,000 of them,
like
of
2
those
tons or
branded F1
something.
KitKat
Yeah.
bars, it was 12 tons.
12
was
tons,
stolen
Jesus
in
Christ.
transit in central Italy heading to Poland. The vehicle and its contents remain unaccounted for. Every single bar, however, is
What about the
individually
driver?
traceable by the batch code. I don't know. I didn't get that far. So if they turn up in unofficial sales channels across Europe, Nestle will know about it. So they can be identified and reported.
That's wild.
The thieves are sitting on 12 tons of traceable branded F1 themed chocolate that they can't sell. So Digby, first of all, I need to know, where were you this time last week? Yeah, I know you were over in Europe. What would you do with all that
He and
chocolate
Tay
if
never
you
in the same
couldn't-
room at the same time.
if you couldn't sell it?
But what am I going to do? I'm going to melt it into a giant chocolate swimming pool.
Pool.
Yeah, and lure the children. Use it to lure the children, the fat children.
God.
Oh, the fat children.
Right, Ev, what do you got for me just to finish this off?
And I'll say it
Bring
was
it
their
home.
choice to eat the chocolate.
Yeah,
I
it
saw
was.
this. I saw this title, and I chose
Oh,
not
God.
to read the article.
Very good.
And then I saw on my Instagram it showed up an official memo from KitKat saying, addressing this.
Yeah, press release.
And then they
yeah.
said, press release, and they were like, this, it's okay. This won't affect
Supply.
distribution or supply. I'm like, wait a minute. How do you lose 12 tons
That's
of
a
supply?
lot of chocolate.
And
That's
then that doesn't influence your supply. Like, what?
That's a fair point.
Both
We're
of
talking
those can't
what
be
did I
correct.
say? 700,000 individual chocolates.
Nobody's
that's
eating
a
that
lot
much
of stock.
KitKat. Have you
I
seen
know.
Polish people? They're not fat.
They're not.
All right, with that, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to say goodbye. Fuck, what a sesh. We've reviewed the Japanese Grand Prix.
I love you,
It was
Poland.
simultaneously a triumph for a 19-year-old who can't legally drink his own champagne, a disaster for a 4-time world champion, and a safety wake-up call for a sport that had Mario Kart characters in the building when it all went wrong. We settled a prediction scorecard in which all three of us were catastrophically, humiliatingly wrong in ways that will follow us probably for the rest of our lives. We've done the quiz where we found out again that Japan has 5 million vending machines and invented precisely 0 Sudokus. And we covered Alonso becoming a dad, Mercedes apparently winning Formula E on purpose for the wrong reasons, Max ejecting a journo from a room, and 12 tons of F1 chocolate currently unaccounted for. Not a bad day's work for 3 idiots. A massive thank you to Ev and to the returning Digby. Welcome back, my man. Genuinely, the show has missed the outrage and your wonderful input. But the important
wasn't outraged enough this week. More outraged.
And I need to be clear about what happens next.
I've seen him more outraged.
Formula One is on a 5-week break. There is no
Oh my God.
Bahrain racing. There is no Saudi Arabia racing. They're both cancelled. The next race is in Miami at the 1st of May. We are going to take next week off, but we will be back in a fortnight with a special episode of what's been happening in F1 since. So we'll catch up on everything that's happened in those last 2 weeks and kind of what's in play for the coming weeks. And then we're going to come back in the week of Miami. We'll cover off our usual programming and tackle a Miami GP preview. So we will see you in 2 weeks, not next week, 2 weeks. Every week we ask you to do one thing. This week, I want you to find one person in your life who's never seen a Formula One race and tell them that someone stole 12 tons of branded chocolate that nobody has found and send them this episode. Like, subscribe, share, wherever you get your podcasts, YouTube, you know what to do. It costs you nothing, but it means everything to us. And as is a tradition, we close every episode of Idiots of F1 with one thought completely unrelated to motorsport, and this week's is this. Nobody has ever looked at the last piece of food on a shared plate and just taken it. There is always a negotiation, a pause, and are you going to finish that everyone knows the answer
Are
to?
you going to have that KitKat? Are you going to? The
last KitKat, the last chicken wing, the final spring roll, the lone chip. It just sits there slowly going cold while 3 adults pretend they don't want it. We have sent people to the moon. We cannot eat the last chip. Good night. See you in a few weeks. Bye.
Bye.